Man, I just miss the Xbox 360 era. In this video, we're going to talk about the Xbox 360 era comparing to the Xbox Series X and why I'm kind of preferring the Xbox 360 over the Xbox Series X. The Xbox Series X is a fantastic console, nonetheless, but I just prefer the gameplay experience on the Xbox 360, and these are reasons why. So, in terms of the core gameplay of the Xbox 360, I just found it more fun than the Xbox Series X. Overall, I found that even with the subscription model with the Game Pass, owning the actual games on the Xbox 360 is a much better experience overall. You gotta own the games, you gotta resell them if you really want to, you gotta keep all your nostalgia all to yourselves instead of relying on a subscription service. The core Xbox 360 gameplay itself as well, it has the true Xbox 360 library. The Xbox Series X doesn't have the complete Xbox 360 library all there. I remember going home and playing FIFA Street for hours, one of my favorite games and most played games of all time. FIFA Street holds so many memories. Even Skyrim, the original version for the Xbox 360, I remember spending so much time on that game, doing character customization, all of that. And through time, like, Bethesda's still a good company sometimes, but it just hasn't hit like that Skyrim day. You know what I mean? When it was first released and the hype was there and it fully went out and really connected with the audience and it did really well. Times have really changed since those days where you can rely on gaming companies releasing really good games. Even with Halo, for example, with the Xbox 360 era, there was so much hype behind every single Halo release. It was insane, like the community as well. Times have really changed in the gaming world, and I think it was really in 2016 when that No Man's Sky thing happened, and then a bit later on with Cyberpunk, when time started to change with gaming, if that makes sense. So it sort of got convoluted over time, and it's hard to trust gaming companies to really release really solid games these days, and you have to wait for long-term reviews of these games over time to see if they're actually worth buying or not, because it's hard to trust sources these days without having a bias of any sort with doing reviews and that. So you've really got to sort this out for yourself, and you never know, you can never really fully trust a game to be that good when released these days. So times have really changed in the gaming world. So yeah, the backwards compatibility library isn't all there with the Xbox Series X, and this is what I'm talking about. So stuff like the EA games, like I miss old school Need for Speed games, older FIFA games, all the way from like FIFA 12. Like this was all before Ultimate Team, all before like the online modes and everything like that. It was just really fun online connectivity. That was so much fun as well. Older Skyrim was really good as well. I played that a lot on the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 online marketplace was great as well. Not to say that all the games were perfect. During these times, there were still moments where a lot of the games weren't as good. Overall, I think a lot of people really enjoyed the Xbox 360 era. There's a few games that I can't play on the Xbox Series X that I can play on the Xbox 360, such as Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Really enjoyed that. Older Need for Speed games. Can't play older FIFA Street games, for example, as well. Those are the top three that come to mind. But also the game prices are fantastic for the Xbox 360 as well. I picked up games like these, Dishonored, for literally $2. The pre-owned prices are just so good, and you can't buy an Xbox Series X game for about $1 or $2 these days. And the gameplay of these games like Need for Speed Most Wanted are so much fun, and there's so many niche games like these ones. Transformers Fall of Cybertron, for example. Even the older Arkham games, when they were released during these times, they were just so much fun. Arkham City, I still love Batman Arkham City. There are remastered versions of these games. For example, it's not like the true nostalgic experience that you would get on these consoles. Like, oh man, it's just, I can't put a finger on it, for example, but it's just that native Xbox 360 experience. Like when you turn on the console, for example, the sounds that it plays on the intro, there's nothing like it. Or even creating the character in the home screen as well was so much fun during those times. They kind of don't really do that with the Xbox Series X anymore. Also, with the Xbox Series X, you get so many updates all the time and you can't decide whether you want to opt out or not. And you have to wait for a lot of updates. With the Xbox 360, we don't have to worry about all these updates. It's pretty much as it is, which is really good. And if there is an update, it's normally just a few megabytes. It's done in a few seconds and you're pretty much off to the races with the Xbox 360. So it's a really good one to go for. It's also super affordable these days. For getting a really good Xbox 360, man, super affordable. I got mine for only like $120 and I've got 3 Xbox 360s. That's how much I love the console. And this one is the Xbox 360 Slim. One thing it has over the Xbox Series X is just more ports. So it has like something like 4 USB cables, connections at the back, which is absolutely ridiculous. The history of the Xbox 360 is it was one of the more popular consoles during the era of like 2008 all the way to 2013, and it beat out the PlayStation 3 even because it was more affordable, came in a little bit earlier, it had better games overall during the early years, and overall it was focused more on connectivity for online gameplay and just community building. The way it was just built, really fantastic how it was all built and everything, and it had so much fun for families, for friends and everything. So such a great console overall, man. And I definitely miss this era of gaming, if that makes sense, well before all the convolution of gaming and everything happened. So really appreciate the Xbox 360 era. So yeah, it's not always about the latest graphics, the latest ray tracing, the latest technologies. It's just about the fun core gameplay, man. At the end of the day, if you can't enjoy a game, if you can't enjoy a story of a game as well, such as older Assassin's Creed games, if you can't enjoy these stories, then there's no point in even playing the game. As we found with some of the latest sort of Bethesda games and some of the latest Xbox games, if that makes sense, like the stories aren't as enjoyable or as immersive as it was during the older games, if that makes sense. So I think a lot of people really enjoyed a lot more Xbox 360 games and a lot of backwards games more than the newest games. Like I just found that I enjoy more the backwards compatible games with the Xbox 360 more than its latest games. There's definitely like two different fan bases in mind. Like you've got the latest and greatest of the Xbox here. It is very expensive as a console as well. It's about $750 in Australia. Whereas you have something that's really affordable, still a lot of fun to play, and games are probably $1 or $2 and still able to play and have a great experience. And there's even GTA 5, so that's a big game that still people play to this day from this era as well. And there's Skyrim as well, for example. There's so many great games from this era. Let me know your favorite Xbox 360 game and have a good one.